Well, g'day, Max here again, and welcome back to the shop. Well, you asked for it. Hashtag shop made tools. Whether you like it or not, I'm doing a video on it. So, we've got a couple of bits and pieces gathered together. So, some of them are from older than time, even before that, and some are recent. So, let's have a bit of a tootle through what we've got and peruse the collection. Okay, just before we get into our shop made tools, I've just got a couple of things to sort out here. So what I have here is a box of some Precision Matthews R8 collets. So these came from Emma Ritson from Emma's Spare Room Machine Shop over in Queensland. Now she won this as part, well, in the Bar Z raffle when she was over there a couple of years back. So a couple of you might recognise the tickets. So yeah, so that's a big thanks to Emma for donating these to my shop because she does not have a machine they fit. And also big thanks to Precision Matthews for donating them to Stan over at the Bar Z Summer Bash. And I think I could be wrong, I think it was about 2020, 2019 possibly, I think it was. So yeah, big thanks to Emma Ritson and Precision Matthews, and also to Stan for putting the bash on to make, well, to enable all this sort of thing to happen. So yeah, so we'll have a quick gander inside. So these are a Taiwanese collet, and it looks to be a very well finished item as well. So this is a 7/16 collet, this one. Yeah, they look to be very well made, so yeah. Thanks Emma and Precision Matthews. Cheers. Okay, this one here is from Aaron over at Aaron Engineering over in Victoria in Australia. So he has quite a good channel. He's actually got two channels. He has a CNC channel as well, DCT it's called. But have a look at Aaron's channel. He gets up to some quite funny stuff, so quite entertaining. So yeah, his 1,000 subscriber draw. He had a raffle. Congratulations on winning first prize in my 1K sub giveaway. Trust you put the swag to good use, mate. So I'm sure we will. So in the box, a couple of stickers. Hankster Fizz, they're cutting oil people. I haven't actually tried their product. I use a Castrol MB50. Maybe Hankster Fizz will send me some free oil. Give it a go. A couple of stickers. What have we got? Evolute Faster Machining and Live Tools, Machine Tool People. I believe these are an eastern state in Australia tooling supply company. So we've got that. Oh, there's a hat. Yeah, there's a hat that's up in the house. Oh, and a magnetic whiteboard. So these will be a gem. Comes with a marker. You can draw on it. The marker has an eraser. Plus, being magnetic, you can just stick it to your wall or your machine. Even the marker has a magnet too. So, cheers. Okay, so we've got a Sharpie marker. Can never go short of a Sharpie. We've got some Evolute and Live Tooling coasters. These will be great. So usually at the end of a day on a weekend when I'm just winding down having a beer, the wife will come down with a glass of wine, plonk it on the milling machine table knee. Well, now we can put a coaster down for her. So good stuff. Some Mentos. I thought Aaron would have eaten all these on his way to the post office. as a robot. I don't know what the robot means. I don't think it's a lolly. Nah, not a lolly. Okay, this here. Collet block, ER32 collet block. I've been wanting one of these for quite some time now. So as I do have a set of ER32 collets and a collet spanner. So yeah, we'll put this one to use, definitely. Good thing that. And last, this contraption here. I've never seen anyone use one of these. It's actually a linishing attachment for your lathe, and what you do is I'll get a piece here. You're supposed to put a piece of emery paper under these clamps. Clamp it up. I believe this goes in the tool post of the lathe, and you can linish long shafts with it. I normally would just hold the emery paper by hand, but I can see a lot of uses for this in the future. So this is something we will we're going to do a video on this. What I can what I can do with this. Could be a V block on a stick. Who knows? But, that's a surprise you'll have to wait for. So once again, thanks a lot, Aaron, and cheers, mate. Thanks. So first cab off the rank is this tool here. So this is a plumb bob. So this is my very first machining experience ever on a lathe. So we had knurling, angles to do with the compound slide, some drilling holes, some step diameters to achieve, and no cock-ups, all went smooth as silk. So yeah, that was back in 1978 in high school machining class. So since there, my career progressed. Okay, this little tool here, simple but effective drill sharpening gauge. So when you're grinding your drill bits, you can grind them to the correct angle, depending on what you're drilling, of course, what the material is. So this was my first job as a first year apprentice in the railway workshops. So it was all hand hacksawing and hand filing. They didn't let us near too many machines back then. So this is the next tool. This is a drill gauge. So we got a 90-degree corner there for some reason, and 125-degree corner there. Same thing, you can use it for sharpening your drill bits. It has the drill number sizes down the bottom, and this was mainly for a filing exercise. So we got there 24.83, 24.82, so 0.01 difference, 24.86, 24.83. So yeah, we had to learn how to operate a file properly before we progress too much further. Okay, so the next one here is just a simple fixture plate, just an array of 3/8 UNC tapped holes. So I can either toe clamp it to the mill table, or it will fit between the jaws of the Kurt vise if I offset one of the jaws to the rear part of the vise. So when I did make this, I've seen a lot of these made, and people do all sorts of weird hole patterns, and I thought, well, whatever hole pattern you do, there's always going to be something that don't fit it. Don't be afraid to drill or machine bits out of these, because that's what they're made for. It's a sacrificial item for holding shit down. So yeah, just a simple bit of 1-inch plate, just machined all the way around, both sides. So, here's a photo of it in action. In the world of precision machining, Western Australia, this is what we use these things for. That's how you do it on a barbie in Australia. Here we are, simple but effective, how to increase the size of your rotary table as per the next clip. Next one here's a couple of V-blocks I made when I was a bit younger. So just simple, milled out of a mild steel block, nothing special about them, there's no heat treatment on them. They've had a miserable life. They've been very handy and done a hell of a lot of work, these things. There's a match mark line I made down the side with a slitting saw. So if I was indicating something in, I could also indicate the blocks and know the sides of the blocks are true to the V. Simple but effective. I haven't even finished machining them, they're still roughly saw cut on the ends. Needed them in a hurry for a job and they got knocked up and put straight into use before they were finished, so be another project coming up. I would like to actually get these hardened, finish machining them, get them hardened and grind them up one day. That's a future project. These ones here are a set of soft jaws that I use for one particular job in the Kurt Weiss. Just machined out from some mild steel bar stock. And just have various pockets cut in. When you're machining multiple parts, just makes the setup time absolutely nothing. There's nothing to set up, you just drop your part in, machine away according to your dials or stops on your milling machine. So great time saver, bit of time to make them, but the time saved over the entire length, depending on how many parts you have to make, just makes the job that much quicker, but also because everything's set up against hard stops, it's very easy to maintain quite a reasonable level of precision. This next one here is for a lapping job that I had to do on a hardened spindle. We had wasn't hardly even a couple of tenths to take out of it. So this is a cast iron lap that I made up. It's an expanding lap. So this shaft has a very minute taper down it. These are just a spacer, and that's a spacer. It also serves as a guide, and it has the adjusting nut here. I have a super fine thread. I can't remember the pitch of the thread now, but it's super fine. So yeah, you do the adjusting nut up, and it expands out the lap, and it's done a beautiful job of the part. So I'll have a look and see if I've got a piece of video of it in action. Okay, these parts here, this was an interesting job, proved to be quite a challenge, but we got through it a piece of piss. So these go onto my lathe, these bolt to the saddle, and basically we have 4 adjusters. So these are just a super fine thread height adjuster. So in a nutshell, they'll go like that, And we have this plate. He goes like that, and it all bolts together down onto the carriage of the lathe. And of course our grinding fixture here, this is a work in progress at the moment which we need to get back onto. So we're making up all of the missing parts for this LA Rochelau grinding fixture. Okay, we've got a couple of taper gauges. This is a hardened and ground one I made up in the shop here. That's for a Jacobs taper, for a job I had to do a while back. And this one here is one I made up. It's at my R8 taper master gauge. Okay, these gems here, a set of parallel strips I made up in my younger days. These are all hardened and ground, but since then I've had a miserable life and I still use them quite often now. They could do with a touch up on the grinder just to bring them back good again. So that's another project when I get a surface grinder. And a few of you will remember this project here. This is the Stephen Gottswinter DTI holder. So this is a great little project to make. So a bit of radius knurling on the knobs there, and our other knobs I've scalloped out. Now that's a trait I picked up off my great grandfather. This is one of his homemade tools, shop made tools. Yeah, got his initial stamp there at the bottom, WG. His knobs, he used to scallop them out too. So I've copied my great grandfather. So this next one here comes from a set of plans from Tom Lipton. Quite a few of us built this, and then there were a few different versions depending on how you were going to mount it, what machine you were going to mount it to. But basically it's a 45-degree chamfering tool for doing a small chamfer on an edge. So if you can imagine, goes in your surface grinder, say that's just imagine that's a grinding wheel. It's not, but it'll do. In my case I use it on the tool and cutter grinder. So then you simply put your part in, run it across the face of the wheel, or side of the wheel in this case, and it will end up with a neat little 45-degree chamfer down the side of it. It's a great exercise, especially for someone that hasn't done a lot of milling. There's a big pocket in the back. And of course I decided to cut some grooves in this one, just somewhere for all the crap to go. So no sooner had I done that than I see everybody else starting to cut grooves on their one as well. So that was a great little build, that one. And of course just some extension tool holders for holding rotary burrs and other tooling, just to reach into hard to get places to get it done. And these ones here, a simple set of balancing rollers. I had to balance an old Harley Davidson crankshaft, so I made these up to do that job with. Now this was originally, used to be like a one-piece bracket. It started life as part of an armrest, extendable armrest assembly out of a 966H Caterpillar loader, I think it was from. So, but yeah, just all I had to do was fit the bearings to it and cut it where I needed to cut it. And great little set of balancing rollers. And of course, feet there, you can bolt them down to your mill table so they don't fall over. Great simple tool. Okay, so when I brought my Bridgeport milling machine, the only R8 tool that I had was a R8 to Morse Taper 3 adapter, so then I could run my little ER32 Morse Taper 3 collet chuck in the Bridgeport. So that meant I needed some Bridgeport tooling, R8 tooling, and a lot of it PDQ at bugger all cost. So the cost was just a couple of grinding wheels, or a selection of grinding wheels for the tool post grinder, so that worked out great. The steel was all scrap steel that I picked up. That turned out great. So we'll walk you through what we've made up. So this one here is the adapter we made up to suit our boring head. So it has a bit of an oddball PCD drilling around here, because the Chinese, when they made this boring head, cocked up the pitch circle diameter. So needless to say, I got the boring head for half price from new. So yeah, no, that one worked out well. This was machined from a solid lump of steel that used to be a bowl lift pin from a Caterpillar 657 scraper. So it's just a bit of good material, that. So as with all of the R8 tooling, I've hardened and ground the whole lot. So that's that one. The next one is we have 4 ER40 collet holders, collet chucks. So I wasn't intending to make 4, but I made the first 2 and I thought, let's have a crack at a short series ones. So I made 2 short series ones. I made 2 in case I bozoed one, and that's why I've got so many of them. So they're all hardened and ground, they're all through drilled, and they all have the threaded hole at the base there for the stop. You can use a threaded stop to go in there for repeatability when you're changing some of your tooling. So yeah, no, they all come up really well. Really pleased with them. We only had an issue with one of them out of all these chucks, so that was this one here. This one? No. This one. Okay, if you look along this area here, you can see it hasn't cleaned up in the grinding. And it has here. So when I heat treated this one, the R8, the quill, had warped in the heat treatment. So this half is still fine. So I can reuse this, modify it to suit another purpose. So I was actually going to make maybe some sort of adapter to fit in the lathe or something along those lines, or something to fit the mill table. I don't know yet, but we'll make something out of it so it's not a waste. This one here is a stub arbor that we made up. So I think it's about a 25mm shank. I thought I made 2 of these. I can't find the other one. I thought I made a smaller one as well. So once again, as with the others, it's all hardened and ground. And we did spend some time with the grinding process. I'll try and get it on camera to get the crisscross pattern on the face there. So that's the proper crisscross pattern. Takes a bit of setting up to do that, to get it right, but we got there. Next one is these 3 face mill holders that we made up. So once again, same as the others, they're all hardened and ground, and turned out extremely well. Now, you can buy them pretty cheap, but You got nothing to video then, have you? They're easy enough to make. It's just got to take a bit of care. And, no, it came out well. Okay, these two gems here, these are slitting saw arbors. There's a standard length one and a long series length one that I've made up. Still to be finished. The hardening and OD grinding is finished, so the whole outside up the tape, the whole thing's been ground, hardened. So all that's left on these are to finish grind the bore on both of them. This one just has a slug in it at the moment, because when you grind the outside you have to have a centre. That's my only way of getting a centre in them. So when they're finished, these you'll be able to run a slitting saw in them without a nut hanging out the back of it. So you'll just have probably, like, you could have down to like a 1/16 of an inch, an 1/8 of an inch shoulder on the bottom, so you can run a slitting saw very close to a flat surface, you know, like with an 1/8 of an inch clearance, so you haven't got a big bulky nut hanging out the back of it. So that's one that we have yet to finish. Okay, this one here, when this is all assembled up, what this does is take the pain in the arse factor out of tramming the head on one of these Chinese little benchtop column mills. Unlike the Bridgeport, where the head pivots, there's no worm gear, so these just flop around, and as soon as you slacken off the adjusting nuts, the whole head flops forward, and it just makes them a real pain in the arse to tram. But this turns the pain in the arse into a piece of piss. So basically, we have this base plate. This base plate has a spherical bearing machined in it. Which bolts to the bed of the mill. This has a number 3 Morse taper, and in Hong Fak Wong there, my Chinese mill, I just put a number 3 to number 4 sleeve over it. This will then locate into there. This locates over here, and there's a grub screw there to lock it in position. And I just pinch the arm off my dial indicator and have my indicator head here. And then it's a simple matter of just sweeping the table. And of course, when I slacken off the head, it won't flop forward, sideways or anything, as this supports it. Uses the quill to support the head from moving. And then it's just a matter of moving the table left or right to tram the head. It just makes the job a breeze. I'll show you a couple of clips of it. So this all came about a couple of years ago. Emma Ritson from Emma's Spare Room Machine Shop runs a tool making competition, and this was my entry. It was in my early days of YouTube, a couple of years ago, and of course the competition was, the winners were drawn at the Barzy Summer Bash, and of course I picked up first prize on this one. So first prize was these Michitoyo pocket comparator and the illumination attachment. If you want to look them up, well, there's the part numbers of them. They're an absolutely brilliant little tool. In previous videos I have shown a couple of shots through the lenses of these. So there are a lot of challenges to meet to make this part, especially the spherical bearing. This outer is 7000 series aluminium. The race here is cast iron, and the ball is stainless steel. Now, if you're wondering how I got the ball inside there, if we can see, there's two slots. So I can pivot the ball around. I just have to clock it in its right location. Okay, that's in its release spot there. So if I push, it comes out. So this is matching spherical area machined on the inside. So it's just a matter of getting the ball, drop it in, clicks into place, and fall out, rotate it half a turn, and there you have it. As for the procedure for machining such a high precision fit ball, freehand on a manual lathe, that is all in the video of when I built this tool. Okay, so what we have here is some angle plates that I've fabricated up. Still to be machined. So this monkey here, this one will get cut in half to make 2 angle plates, and the rest will be a match set, the other 2 larger pair. So I'll probably just rough these out in the milling machine, and then I want to finish machine them in my shaper. So I have a 20-inch or 500mm shaper machine to finish machine them in. You guys haven't seen that, but you'll see plenty of action with that thing in the new shop. So this little jigger here, my ball turner. So this was the start of my YouTubing. I had already started to make this. I'd already made this top slide attachment here before I started making YouTube videos, and then as you'll see if you go back and watch my first few videos, they're all about making this here. So it's all based on a rotary table, and yeah, you can turn some nice radiuses with it. It has a graduated scale on the end here. Each graduation is 1/1000th of an inch, so you can turn some very accurate balls to size, and which it does. So basically it's a plate which sits on the V-ways of the lathe, a rotary table that I've modified, and the slide at the top, and the tool holder assembly. This is the base plate which anchors it down. So when you plop this on your lathe bed, the centre of rotation is dead on the centre axis of the spindle. So as soon as you plonk this down, you're automatically in alignment for centre, so you turn a true ball and not some egg-shaped thing. So yeah, if you catch up on my early videos on making this, I was just learning how to video then. I'm still learning how to video, and yeah, it does a great job. Well, hope you made it through all of that intact. So that spans a bit of tooling that I've made through my short YouTube career. There'll be plenty more to come in the future, especially once we get all set up, all my machines under one roof in the new shop. So there'll be some good days ahead. So anyway, cheers. Thanks.